Hello and welcome to Foundered Money. My name is Connor, I'm the host of this channel, and today we have an interview with another personal finance blogger, Joseph Hadaway. He invited me over onto his podcast a few weeks back and we chatted about all things money. But during that conversation it came up that he was starting a digital agency. For those of you who know me already, well, I exited one there a few months back, and that was one that I started right here in this bedroom over 13 years ago. So I thought it would be great to have him here on Foundered Money where we can chat about business, so that I can give him some of the guidance that I wish I had back 13 years ago and let him ask me some questions about the challenges or opportunities that he might face in his business. It's going to be a great chat. I'm really looking forward to it. But before we get into it, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and let's get going. Good morning and welcome to the Foundered Money interview series. Today, as I've mentioned, we have Joseph Hadaway, friend of mine in the personal finance sphere, and now is starting his own digital agency. So, Joseph, welcome to Foundered Money. How are you keeping?
Hey, I'm doing pretty well, Connor. Thank you so much for having me on.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Well, look, you invited me to your podcast, The Strive to Fi, and for anyone who wants to go and listen to that, you can get it on Strive to Fi on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, from memory.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Fantastic. I'll put the links in the show notes anyway. But during our conversation, you mentioned quite a few things that resonated with me, and hopefully the same. And one of those was that you were starting your own digital agency. And for the people who know me on this channel, well, I started in a digital agency in this bedroom and exited there a few months back. So why not? And what better time to have you on the channel and have a chat about that? So, Joseph, how's it going so far?
It's going. I mean, I will say I bit off a lot more than I thought I was biting off originally. Yeah. But it's going, and it's slowly but surely coming together.
Very good, man. Very good. What is the name of the agency?
Jaguar Digital Agency.
Very good. And tell me then, what services are you guys going to provide in the agency then?
Yeah, so right now it's obviously still in kind of the startup phase, figuring it out, getting the right people in the right places.
Very good.
Right now, primarily what we're actively marketing is video editing.
Excellent.
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn management.
Okay.
And web design.
Very good. And do you have a chosen platform on web design?
I hate to say this, I actually outsource that to a third party.
Okay, no, that's
same company.
Good.
They do my personal site. We have partnered with them.
Brilliant.
And I let them do the work.
Oh, very good. No, it's all good. That's all good. Look, even in my business, which had 40 staff and a team of 12 developers, we still used third parties right up until the time I exited, because you just have capacity issues or quality that you want to maintain, and using some people who are skilled in those services, that's key. So there's no shame in using other parties to help you with your business at all. Well, look, I have a couple of questions first and foremost. Why did you get started in digital? What was the reason? What was the catalyst for that?
I mean, and I hate to say this, but honestly, it's to see if I could.
Yeah.
I was sitting here, I mean, roughly 1,000 followers on Twitter at the time, which puts me ahead of a lot of people.
For sure.
My Instagram was growing pretty quickly, and I had a few friends starting to ask me questions like, hey, how are you doing it? Mm-hmm. And then I realized, hey, people are making money doing this. I bet that I could too.
Yeah. And that's a great starting point, because, you know, for a lot of people, and a lot of people that I speak to in business, they just don't know how to get started. And that you were doing some of this work already. You're probably doing a lot of it for yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, and, you know, as anyone who is in the creating scene like ourselves, you are doing everything at all times, because that's just what's required. So, you know, the question I always ask is, well, how did it get started? And you've answered that perfectly there. It's because you were doing it already, and it was skills that you, I don't know, do you have a design background, or do you have a digital background, or were these things that you learned yourself?
Not at all. Yeah, it's entirely self-taught. I mean, I'm a firm believer in absolutely anything and everything I do. I'm a smart enough guy. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Free online courses, YouTube, the free online university.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to do something, there's an expert out there who will teach you how to do it for free.
Yeah. There is. And look, we both put content out there, the two of us. Mm-hmm. And for me, everything that I personally do now outside of my old business, I have to learn because I had a team doing that for me. So YouTube is a great learning resource, and I always go back to that point of view where it's either will or skill. You don't have the skill to do it, but if you have the will to learn it, you can go and figure out most things today.
100% agree with you on that.
Good. So the business is in startup phase.
Yes, sir.
Are you? What are the challenges you face there? Are you starting to look for clients, or have you got clients and you're just trying to manage the processes? What is it you're trying to achieve at this right this second?
Yeah, I'd say it's a mix of both. I have a few clients under my belt currently, who I got to say are all phenomenal and have been very patient over the last few months. I'm sitting here, a few clients now, we're making a little bit of money. If I'm talking straight net profit, some taxes, it's under $1,000 a month.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. All businesses start somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
And you're learning this process, and you're learning business for maybe not the first time, but you're learning this new business for the first time. So that's a great starting point. Like I see no shame in that at all. You're doing.
Oh yeah.
You're making profit. That's more than most businesses.
Yeah, I have absolutely no shame in it. I mean, the way I see it, I'm going into a brand new space, and the fact that there's even one person out there who's willing to listen to what I say feels like an accomplishment in itself.
I love that. And the services that you're providing at the minute, what are they? Like, what are those clients paying you for right this second?
Instagram management, Instagram and Facebook page management, since those kind of go hand in hand. If you're on the Instagram Creator Studio, you can publish one to each. Those are really, really going hand in hand. And then the other one, which I've actually been pleasantly surprised about, is a lot of my clients who I'm already working with through like the Instagram management have been asking about web design as well. So I've had to bring on a web designer. And going back to your original question, those have not been outsourced.
Very good.
I actually have somebody on team. We're taking their existing platform, whatever they're already paying for it, and just doing a redesign.
Very good. And you will start to learn that process so much more, and you will become so fluent in it, and it becomes I promise you, it becomes a lot easier too over time in managing those clients that maybe you didn't have those skills before, but you're just getting them now, and that's class. Well, look, if I was to ask you a question, and I'm going to be really crazy in this, if we're sitting here 10 years from now, what does success look like in your business?
For my business and of itself?
Yeah.
Ooh, good question. So 10 years from now, more than anything else, is I'm a firm believer, and I want to be taken care of, and I want everyone who I hire to be taken care of.
Yeah.
So, 10 years from now is a solid book of business. And we can get into this if you want. I am working on a future of both internal and external clients.
Brilliant.
I'm going to shout out Accidentally Retired on Twitter. He's the one who gave me the idea.
Yeah, very good.
But I see our own internal startups thriving.
Brilliant.
Doing well, making a solid profit, as well as I see myself as a solid base of employees. I don't want to put a number on it for sure, but who are all also well taken care of.
Very good.
And I'm hoping with the next 10 years the business has grown enough that I can step away from a day-to-day role and go to more of long-term management.
Very good. Yeah, here, great aspirations on both sides, for the employees and for yourself there. And Accidentally Retired is very smart. I listen to them and read their comments with intent. But that body of internal clients, having your own internal customers based on your own products or services, and then having your external clients is a great business move. It's one that we did ourselves, and I love that. What would you expect? And I know you don't want to maybe just tell me all your ideas right now, but if you have any ideas of what those internal projects could be, or what type of external clients would you aspire to work with?
Yeah, internally, I'm going back between 101 ideas. That's an idea pretty still in its infancy, so I'm admittedly figuring out a little myself. Since we are a content focused agency, I foresee that being a lot of web content. You can monetize Twitter account, Instagram account, might put up a blog with some ads. Still figuring that out exactly. As terms of external clients, when I started this going on a year ago, maybe a little more than a year ago, I said my client base was absolutely everybody and everyone. Mm-hmm. But I've found a little niche that's working for us, and I'm trying really hard to dig into that might even come up with a name change to fit the niche.
Okay.
Realtors actually
Very good.
are a market that we seem to be that both me and I want to say my sales team, but truthfully it's one person right now.
Yeah.
Hiring a few more if you're interested.
Look, actually, let's just
meeting up.
Stop there. Yeah, if there's anybody who is interested in selling these type of services it's across borders, isn't it? You know, I appreciate at the minute you're primarily US based, but this service goes anywhere really.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. But realtors then, so apologies, I changed your train of thought there. So the realtors, that seems to be the market that are getting these type of services at this stage.
For me, if nothing else, that's who we're connecting and who we're resonating with.
Brilliant.
And I mean, that's a niche I am more than willing to drill down into.
Yeah, and you will find that your business goes in all different directions over time. We, in our niche, in the design studio side of the business, kind of merged into sport. So we won a couple of projects, and from those projects they did really well, and that, you know, we asked for referrals and we got business in more of those. And I'm thinking about race courses, and we did one project for a race course, they won race course of the year. We did another project for a second race course, they won race course of the year. And because of that, we got the contract for the overall body of horse racing in Ireland. Nice. So that kind of, you know, you will just find that your business will just spider way about and will go in these different directions, or it will niche down or niche up into the bodies in those different markets. But those realtors then, so they're looking for that managed account service at this stage?
Yes, they are.
Very good.
And of course, realtors are quite busy with what they do.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, searching NMLS is a job in of itself.
Yeah. So what is MLS?
Yeah. I should know what that stands for. Basically, it's the national listing of homes here in the States.
Brilliant.
For sale mostly, but I think I could probably even find my own property we just bought.
Very good.
On that side as well.
Oh, brilliant. And for that service for those realtors, what do you do?
Mm-hmm. Primarily, most of them have been interested in the Instagram management.
Yeah.
As well as, and I'm going to give him a shout out to my sales guy. He has been phenomenal on the upselling. We've even gotten a lot of them interested in the website refresh is the label we've been putting on it.
Brilliant.
And I really, anything I've found that you can take off their plate, don't approach them as a sales call. Approach them as like, hey, Instagram's a great way for you to meet clients, but you're obviously kind of busy. How can we take this off your hands for you?
Yeah. And do you find that you're doing that from the company perspective, or is it going to morph into that personal brand for realtors? Because I do appreciate it's not the case over here that the realtors are personalities, as I would say, but certainly I get the feeling in your side of the water that they are, or they try to be anyway. So is that an opportunity for the business?
Right now, the personal branded ones are solely who we're focusing on.
Oh, wow. Perfect then. Okay.
And interesting you say that. I admittedly thought the real estate world was similar internationally, but no. Since a lot of real estate agents, and it may work over there the same, are contractors. Of course, they're paid on commission and only make money when they sell a house. Building that personal brand for them and distinguishing themselves in their local area, or even in some cases across their whole state or across the whole country, is huge for them.
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways, they're not making money if they're not doing it.
Absolutely. It's slightly different here where the realtors would be part of a company and the company would be more branded rather than the individual. But again, then it's the same process for the company rather than that person. But yeah, as you said, without having a good, strong personal brand, without having a presence online, it makes it a lot harder for people to find you and really like what you sell or want to use you for that service. So that's fantastic, actually. Yeah, I love it. And the other sides of your business then, so realtors are one little, not one little, but they're one area of focus for the business. You know, if we're looking at, you mentioned that your internal focus and maybe some of those branded Twitter, and I know 3 or 4 guys who do it very well, like they're making $10,000, $12,000 per month from a branded Twitter page or profile. That's crazy.
One day.
Like, you know, and all they're doing is posting pictures of like quotes and memes. It's ridiculous. But they're doing it, and people are paying them for it. Now they do supplement that service with ghostwriting and other options besides that. But there is as somebody who is inclined to want to make money, there are many ways to do it online, and what you've mentioned there are 3 or 4 very, very good and different ways to do it. And you're also then doing the agency side as well, which I love because that's my background too. But so the opportunities are endless in business.
Oh yeah,
definitely. And that's one side of it. But if I was to question you again and go, well, what challenges do you face right this second, or what challenges do you foresee in the future?
Oh yeah, of course. Especially, I mean, being here in the growth phase, client acquisition is an issue or a consistent problem in and of itself. I'm actually quite proud of this. I've been going at this for a year and I've never lost a client.
Brilliant.
So retention is not an issue.
Yeah.
But acquisition is, and I mean, you'll send 100 cold emails or 1,000 cold emails, you might get a response.
Yeah.
I think, prime example, last week, I automate through Zapier, so I'm not sending all these myself. But last week, I sent probably 2,500 cold emails.
Okay.
I got 2 responses, both of which were take me off this email list.
Okay. Yeah, fair. And do you do any traditional calls or outbound calls to people or networking events, things like that? I do appreciate, and for anybody who doesn't know Joseph also has a full-time job, so this is very much yep this is very much his business on the side, not a side hustle, but it's a business. So what other activities are you doing, or is it just that cold email at the minute?
At the minute, it's just cold email. I guess, to get into my personal life, personal finances and things, I'm hoping, and this is not going to be anytime soon, it's going to be a couple years down the road, I can step out of a full-time role in traditional W-2 9-to-5 employment and into more of like a 9-to-5 role, kind of like a barista fire kind of thing. And that way I can then work 20 hours a week, like you and I were talking before the call, get my health insurance. And then the other 20 hours focus on building my agency. So right now, when I get off work 5-6 o'clock in the afternoon, not a lot of small businesses are open, or even less are open to a sales call. But I foresee, hopefully within the next 2 to 3 years, I can get heavy on the phone, I'll open up this. My sales guy is in Bangladesh.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not asking him to get on the phone.
No. No.
But if I ever end up hiring a U.S. based sales rep, the leads I pay for have phone numbers on them. I'll get them to start making those calls.
Very good. Well, that's actually, we can get into a little bit of personal finance if you're okay with that.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because you've hit the nail on the head there. This is a job or business on the side at this moment in time with the potential that can become your full-time job or part-time job if you were to transition across to that over a period of time. But there are some money considerations there. And people who are maybe watching this video will probably think, well, I could probably do that myself, but I wouldn't know how to plan for that. So if we were to chat about money, and what would you do and how would you plan for that process of, well, I'm in my full-time job now, I can move to part-time when I do this, and I can move to full-time my own business whenever this happens, if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course. I personally have both expense and income goals for both of those. I'm gonna just, because I don't want to give away my full salary or anything.
Oh yeah, of
course. You will never see an income or a net worth update from me. I don't like sharing that out there. But either way,
I'm exactly the same. My wealth and my net worth has no benefit to anybody bar me, and it serves nobody else's purpose except me. So why would you share it?
Agreed. 100% agree with you on that one. So the way I see it, and let's just kind of pick a number here. So a pretty standard salary in the U.S., let's just say $60,000.
Perfect. Yeah.
Gross income. So let's take that. The way I look at it, if you want to look at it in terms of income, is I think about it in terms of replacement.
Yeah.
If I'm making $60,000 a year at my W-2 9-to-5 full-time 40-hour job, then when I start making $35,000 a year from my side businesses, slightly over half, I can step into a part-time role.
Perfect. And how did you come up with that? You know, because that for me, and it just feels a little bit high. But again, what works for you works for you, and what works for me works for me. Is that because you would feel secure? Because there's a huge change in mindset and change in focus whenever you leave your 9 to 5, your W2, and move into self-employment that bit more. What are the reasons behind you saying, well, just slightly more than half before I move in?
Security, like you said, is by far the biggest one.
Yeah.
I mean, and also then as number 2, I am lucky to say that I work in a 9 to 5 field that I don't hate.
Yeah.
Yes, self-employment's the goal, but I don't roll out of bed on Monday morning hating my life. So I'm not in like a huge rush. Oh my God, I have to get out of this job either.
I understand that. And like, you can do both at this stage.
Absolutely.
You can do both. And there's no, as you said, you don't hate what you do. So getting up every morning, going to work isn't a pain, isn't a drag. This is just something, this is your passion that you're moving into.
Yes.
And as it grows, you will lean into that further and more so as well.
Absolutely. No, that's a phenomenal way of putting it. 100% agree.
I love that because, you know, there is security there. I was chatting to somebody yesterday and they asked me, well, how I started my business. And I was like, well, I quit my job on day 1 or day 30 of the month and started my business on the 1st of the next month. And would I do that again? Absolutely not, because that was hugely risky. At that point, I had no income. I literally started from scratch that following day. So I had no business set up prior, and it worked out. So I have some survivor bias, but would I recommend it to anybody else? Absolutely not. Make sure that you're getting a suitable level of income first and foremost from your side business or your side hustle, whatever it is, and then gradually progress out because it makes it a lot safer.
100% agree. And
Good.
I will admit there are some days I roll out of bed and I think about you because I'm like, ooh, I could just call in right now and be like, hey, I quit. And then I'd be making cold calls by 9 a.m.
Yeah, but that's exactly it. You know, if you're forced into it, because, you know, you're in a very good position, Joseph, where, you know, you have a plan in place for growth of your business. You have a stable job at this other side, which most people do. However, if you look at all the layoffs in the tech space over this last 6 months, I think it's nearly 200,000 jobs, 200,000 high-paying jobs are gone from the market overnight or over a very short period of time. Those people will find it harder to find a job, first and foremost, and have no plans for their own growth in entrepreneurship if that's what they were now going to do. Whereas you are already along that process. So there is security that if shit hits the fan over here, you can move over here very, very quickly. And you know the process of just jumping on the phones and making calls and doing that. Whereas other people don't. And they have not been forced into that. And hopefully they never are. But yeah, that would be a horrible situation for many.
Oh yeah,
Dear.
That I will say was one of my big get into entrepreneurship things is if my boss were to call me 8 a.m. this morning and say you're fired or market cuts, you're laid off, we'd be fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
We would. I mean, I'm not thriving. I'm not going on any vacations, but my mortgage will be paid.
Yeah. And that's because you've put the effort in until this point. And it can go both ways, but you know, with focus and effort and on all that time, you can do that. So for anybody watching, you know, financial security, most people think that your 9 to 5 job is the most stable income that you will ever have. And for a good part of it, it is until it isn't. So having multiple streams of income, in my opinion, and I think, Joseph, you're going to agree with this one.
Oh yeah, big time.
Is core. You know, try and make sure that you have different streams of income, whether that's from your investments, whether that's from rental properties, whether that's from your side hustle or your own employment, self-employment, and then your W2 or your 9 to 5 at the same stage. Great, that's a great point. Thank you very much. We got there. we got that nugget of information for everybody in the video, so I appreciate that. Look, you know, you have a very strong body of work now in the realty section of the market, and how do you protect your business from somebody, Jimmy down the street?
Actually, prime example. One of my clients, actually my first client ever, it is a larger Instagram account. She has a few thousand followers.
Very good.
And she gets DMs every single day. Wow. People telling her either what I'm doing wrong or how they can do it better. Whether that's true or not, goes both ways. When it started, her and I had a lot of talks when I was still, getting on my feet, figuring out what I was doing, getting some design class under my belt. But now that I'm a year into this, I feel pretty confident what I'm doing. I feel pretty confident about the team around me. I've kind of been saying, at worst, if you don't like what I'm doing, hear them out.
Yeah.
Or if you really think they can do better, talk to them. Yeah. Because I stand by 100% what my team and I do. And I will happily go toe-to-toe with any other agency out there. And if you legitimately feel like they're coming out with a better product, no hard feelings. But we charge fair rates, and I feel that we deliver above quality, so nobody's touching us. And nobody has in the last year.
Brilliant. And that justification of your work and your service comes from doing the work and providing the service. It comes from experience. And, for a lot of people who are starting on their entrepreneurial journey, they maybe don't have that experience, or they feel that they can't present themselves in that manner as well. So if you were looking back, giving yourself advice from a year ago, what would you say?
More than anything else, a year ago is be confident. Good. Especially with those first couple clients, someone who's really only managed my own digital presence. Imposter syndrome hit. Imposter syndrome hit hard. And I'm sure you can relate. I know every entrepreneur I've ever talked to, it hits at some point. Even when I hired that first employee, the imposter syndrome hit very, very hard. And also, at the very beginning of the business, my way of getting into it was to heavily undercut everyone else's prices.
Okay.
Even though I was delivering, still I feel to this day, higher quality than your average guy on the street. Maybe we back off that a little earlier.
Yeah.
And that is a challenge I still face in the business, is I have people coming off these 1-year contracts paying probably less than half of what I should be charging them. And we're coming up on contract renewal time in the next 2 to 3 months. And how do we discuss those rate raises? Because I obviously can't just double it, but that's the fair market rate.
Yeah, well, look, I can help with that if you
want. Absolutely, please.
Well, so this is the most common question or challenge that agencies face. It's, you've got those legacy clients where they were the guys who supported you at the start, but either you're outgrowing them or they're outgrowing you at the same time in terms of your service and your offering. And what I try to do then is to have that very honest conversation, because these are the people who trust you and you trust them because they supported you at that early stage. So it is very difficult to just say, here's double the price and like it or lump it. But what I try to do is have a conversation, an open conversation, and say, look, here's what we do now. This is what's different from a year ago. The cost of this normally would be whatever, X per month or whatever way you charge. But because of your longevity with our business, here's a staged amount. And hopefully this works for you still. Hopefully that would help us, progress and provide more of the same service. And let's see what we can do. And it's just having that conversation. You're not going to win them all. And I would probably say the other side of that is that some of those legacy clients provide you with the hardest work that you'll do as well. They're often the people that you want to fire, but you can't because they would go anywhere else because they're getting such a cheap service. And at some point you then have to just call it what it is and say, we're undercharging you, here's our new price, and thanks again, like it or lump it, or here you go, or here you stay, and we're happy to move forward on these new terms.
I like it.
But it's hard. I promise you it's hard. Because you'll never get it right every time. That's the thing. You have to approach it individually with each client as well. Because, if we chat, I have had one client that my very first logo design was 150 quid. That's what we charged for logo design at the very first one. And when I left, it was 20,000 for a branding package. Now, those services were completely different and entirely different product, because it was even the length of time between the two of them, and the service we provided and the offering we provided. But some of those clients who were £150 clients did scale up to much larger clients over time because they saw and understood the difference in the product and the service, and their business was growing with us too. And that's a really great part to get into. as your clients grow, you will grow also, because they will add more services and more products that they require from you, and it's making sure that you can capitalize those as well during that time.
I'm gonna throw this out there, going back to what we talked about earlier.
Go for it.
Exactly. Experts who will teach you something for free. I've been saying for a while, Connor and I need to chat more, and this is why. He's full of great info. If you ever need something, founder.com, right? Or founder.co.uk?
.co.uk, yeah. Like
there we go.
Thank you. But this is just experience, and this is what I have done for 13 years. You're moving into this, and if I can share some of the rights and the wrongs that I've done over those years, well, look, that helps you, and it helps somebody else watching this also. So, right, tell me this. Again, we're going to get into money. How much have you invested in your startup? Because the question I'm asked from everyone, how much does it cost to start a business? Even if we just look at a year ago, what were the very basic costs that you needed to spend money on?
Actually, let's see here. Trying to do the numbers in my head. So my startup costs were about $200.
Okay. And what did you spend $200 on?
I filed an LLC.
Okay.
I made the company official.
Perfect.
Which, if you're here in the States, I don't know how EU law, business law works, but if you want to start a sole proprietorship, totally free or a lot cheaper. I wanted an LLC because I saw myself hiring, and I wanted the tax identification and proper method of doing it.
Okay, slightly different here in the UK. You can start a sole proprietorship here as for nothing, and that's absolutely fine. Like the LLC, we have a limited company, and pardon me, it costs just a few pounds, maybe a couple £100 to do exactly the same. And that adds protection because it's a limited company. You are a separate entity from the business, you personally, whereas in a sole proprietorship, you are one and the same. Perfect.
Exact same.
Cool.
So my big goal starting this agency, because it was a new venture for me. It's an industry that I still have very limited experience in.
Okay.
I did not want to put too much of my own money at stake.
Yeah.
So my big goal, and I keep saying I'm going to make a YouTube video on this, was to not spend a penny of my own money after I got the LLC approved. So I never did. I never spent a penny out of my own pocket, but if we're talking reinvested earnings...
Well, that's perfect, yeah. I follow that exact same method, and I've not earned a penny from any of my channels this last few months, but whenever I earn a penny or two from it, that will all be reinvested. So just for the viewer there, explain what that is.
Yeah, of course. So basically, the net profit that I have made off of every contract, every month, every gig, because I started this on Fiverr actually.
Very good.
Has gone right back into the business, whether it be for the website, whether it be for salaries, marketing, people. I mentioned I buy leads lists usually every other week, every month or so. I, to this day, have not taken a penny out of the business into my own pocket.
So I have some theories on this as well.
Go for it.
So for me, I have a percentage that I will retain in the business for growth, and that's 50%. Make it really simple. No point in having silly maths. You should only ever take out up to 50% of the retained net profit from the business, because you're in a growth phase, and at this moment in time, the more you can reinvest, the more you would expect to get returns on that as well. But over time, you should reduce that down so that you are taking a little bit out for yourself, because you work very hard in your business and you do deserve to have those rewards as well. But right now, having, putting everything back in, absolutely great, but I would hope that over a little bit of time that you can start to take some money out of as well. And it doesn't have to be a lot of money, but just a dinner out or something that will reward you for doing the work.
Actually, funny you mentioned that, because that was something that I said, and I don't know how much you want to date the recording, but it's May 17th.
That's fine, yeah.
When I sat down, I get to start the business, I made a written 5-year plan.
Brilliant.
Because you don't come to anything without a plan. I'm a firm believer in that. I like writing things down. And I said on June 1st of every year, I would increase how much I take out of the business by 10%.
Very good.
So starting June 1st, 10% net earnings are coming to me. And I plan to scale that at least until 50.
Yeah.
And then I said at 50, the end of my 5-year plan, I would reevaluate. So I'm right there with you on that.
That's class. And look, the point that you made there is failing to plan is preparing. Oh God, my dad tells me this quote all the time. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail. There you go.
That's it. Yep.
Dad, you thanks again for that one. But that's a perfect starting point for any business. You know, you've got an idea, you have to build a plan, because without a plan, everything's just going everywhere at all times. And while you may not stick to the plan over those 5 years, when shit hits the fan again, which it inevitably does in business, you always just come back to what you've written down, because it's written in a moment of clarity, a moment of peace, not when all things around you are going mad, so that you can start and go back to the plan and start from there once again. And we had plans for 5 years, for 10 years, and actually our plans were not too far away, because I still have a great memory of the 5-year plan I had before I sold my business, and almost to the month we followed it the whole way through.
Wow.
And that's it. So it does, while you think, oh, your business will change and will merge into different entities and all the rest, it does. But the plan generally stays the same from your vision, as long as that's what's driving you towards it. So yes, second tip for the video, make sure you plan your business. And I'm not necessarily one that will go into a huge business plan, but certainly having goals and vision statements for the business are a great starting point.
Oh yeah, I 100% agree with you on there. I've got probably Google Doc upon Google Doc of
Very good.
This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
This is what I want to do, and these are absolutely moonshots that would scale if I have the time.
Very good. No, and that's the way it should be, because you know you're an entrepreneur, and the people watching this are entrepreneurs as well. Our heads just go, oh, I see all these different things and I want all these different things, and the challenge for us is actually refining it into 2 or 3 great ideas.
I want to argue, but like last night I was laying in bed with my wife watching TikTok, and
right.
I rolled over and looked at her and said, "Do you think we have enough money to buy a vending machine?"
I think we're going to have a call weekly where I just say, no, we can't do that. And
that's why I married my wife, because she'll hit me with that. Do you really want to deal with a vending machine? Well, no, but this guy on TikTok made $1,000 last month.
Yeah, I watch those videos too, and there's like kids doing it and all the rest, and they've got this little business, and that's fantastic. I think it's a great point. I don't know how regulated it is over here or whatnot, but it wouldn't be for me. I just couldn't think of going anything worse. And then quarters and pounds and pennies and all that. Maybe
it sounds like a great idea, but the first time I've got to go stock it, I'm be like, I'm going to sell it, because I don't want to deal with it.
Oh, very good, very good. Well, look, we're a year into the business now. What systems and tools do you pay for?
Yeah, my personal favorite by far, Buffer.
Right. So tell me about Buffer. It's a social media?
Yes, sir.
Management. Yeah, cool.
Scheduling accounts. Schedule Twitter, schedule Instagram, schedule Facebook. Oh god, I hate Instagram scheduling, but that's another talk.
Okay.
I think you can even schedule Mastodon now. I got an email about that this morning.
Very good.
If you're into that.
Is that was the Twitter alternative a few months back, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
I never made the switch, but I know some other managers who I talk with every now and then who are apparently finding a lot of clients for it. So maybe it's the way of the future. We'll see together, I guess.
Yeah. Look forward to seeing that. Yeah.
And then beyond that, I mentioned I pay to host and manage my website.
Very good.
I wouldn't outsource to them if I didn't thoroughly believe in their services.
Very good.
As well as I mentioned, I pay for leads. I have a guy for that. Mm-hmm. He scours LinkedIn for me. Salaries, of course, but those are
business costs. Yeah.
Yep. I would say. I'm trying to think what else. There was anything else that we pay for regularly. Oh, Canva. Love Canva.
Okay, well, so
Photoshop.
No, but Canva for me was one of those tools that I was like, oh god, you just can't have people talking about Canva. But it has morphed into this massive tool, and so many agencies that I now see out there doing digital marketing and management of social media are using it because it's easily integrated with everything. Whereas if you think about Photoshop and InDesign, there's a higher barrier to entry of learning the skills on that, and they don't automatically integrate because they're not meant for that. So in your industry, Canva's class, why not use it? It's brilliant.
Oh yeah. I will say, like you said, I've been on Canva for a few years now. It even predates the agency pretty far.
Yeah.
That tool has gone from pick this template and then put in your text to an, in my opinion, you may disagree with this, a near Adobe Suite competitor. I mean, even the video editor, they just added green screens on it. It's coming along pretty quick.
To be honest, I haven't looked at it for a little while. It wouldn't be for me because of the workflows that I do and the way that I design and I build videos now at this stage. But like for most people, people still, I am of the generation where I hold my phone like this rather than this. And that dates me. But for me, I don't edit on my phone. I'm not necessarily a fan of editing in browser either. So I like that suite and application on desktop just to work to. But it's just preference.
Hey, oh yeah, no, totally fair. I won't tell anyone, because I also pay for Photoshop.
Okay.
Because my web designer who I work with prefers it.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna interrupt her workflow. Exactly what you said.
Yeah. Hosting and emails are just those sunk costs people forget about. So, but in reality, there's not a huge amount of subscriptions per month that you have to pay for.
No, not at all.
At this stage, which is fantastic. So it's keeping those costs incredibly low, because when you do that and you manage your subscriptions every month like that in a digital business like yours is, well, then you can increase your profits as much as possible. And I do imagine that a lot of those prices don't increase as you bring on new clients, except only when maybe you add new users to it. But your Canva can be used for any number of clients. Buffer, does it have tiered pricing as well?
They do. They have an agency plan. I want to say we pay an extra $10 a month every time we add a new client, and I get up to 10 users for that.
That's brilliant. Like that.
Which is nothing.
You're building a time-based business. My challenge to you then is that time-based business and service-based businesses have a ceiling. You can only sell so many hours per person. You can only sell, and even if you extend those hours somewhat, there's still only a level of hours. My challenge for you is to start building out those internal products as well, because that's where you're going to see that nice split in revenue, and again, protect the revenue in your business too. So I'm going to hold you accountable to that in 6 months' time.
Hey, please do that. That's the goal for it. I've been looking into it pretty heavily, and I think we're getting pretty close to getting a few of those off the ground.
Good. I look forward to seeing them. Well, I'm going to wrap it up with a couple of other questions, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
What advice do you have for aspiring entrepreneurs who are watching this?
Do it. Get started.
Yeah.
At more than anything else, because the digital agency idea alone, if you even look at the other stuff I spend my time on, my own personal brand, my YouTube channel, whatever.
Yeah.
I sat paralyzed for months because I didn't know how to make a YouTube video. I didn't know how to make a website. I didn't know how to make a blog. I didn't know how to start a social media agency.
Yeah.
Nothing in the world teaches you like doing it.
Very good.
Get out there. If you fall on your face, then you've learned something. Get up and try again. Especially if you're in like a sales or a client-based business. If you mess up with one client, there are 2, 3, 4, 5 million other people out there who will want your service, and you can get up and try again.
Yeah, that's great advice. Honestly, failing forward is a huge term that I would use. And the other side of that is it's never a failure if you learn from it. It is like just it's just learning. It really is. Nobody, even I who has successfully built and sold a business, I still learn every day. I still make mistakes every day as well. And it's learning from those mistakes and educating yourself by having conversations like this and learning from people who have made those mistakes and have learned, just ahead of you. They're not any better. Like I always say that I'm not any smarter or any prettier than anybody else. I've just done the process that you are now on, and that journey that you're on, a little bit ahead of you. So, if you can learn from my mistakes, well, you will get there more efficiently.
Absolutely. It's that Warren Buffett quote. I can learn from my own mistakes, but I'd rather learn from somebody else's.
Well, I have never heard that. That's class.
Oh, really?
No, that is brilliant. That is really good. Well, Joseph, other than that, then, how can we find out a bit more about you? Personally, I'll see you on Twitter in about 5 minutes.
I've got it pulled up on my second screen, so maybe not even 5.
So, from my perspective, I know who you are. I know what you do. But for everybody else watching this video, please tell me how we can connect with you, how we can connect with your business, and how we can find out more about you.
Yeah, of course. So my personal website with all my links to my social medias and things, josephhadawayfc.com. If you want to learn about my agency and even see the positions we're hiring for, jaguardigitalagency.com as well.
Very good, very good. And then your socials?
Oh yeah, of course. At jhadawayfc on Twitter, Instagram. Actually, I think that's it. Cause I tried Mastodon and got rid of it.
Yeah, no, I didn't even download it. No, I lie. I tried to log on to it. Thought it was quite hard. I went, no, I'm done.
As soon as they asked me to pick a server, I went, all right, this is too much.
That's exactly what it was. I think I got to that stage and went, no. Very good. Well, look, Joseph, thank you so much as always. And for those of you who don't know, Joseph was one of the first people who welcomed me into the personal finance creator space and has been a huge advocate of what I've done. And I'm replicating that because, well, we talk the same language.
We really do. It's kind of weird at times.
We say the same things, and it's not that he's copying me or I'm copying him. It's just we think very similar about money, and we definitely think similar about business. And it's just been a pleasure to have you on the channel today. So thank you so much, Joseph. And look, I will be connecting with you in about 5 minutes at the end. So hey, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on. Always a pleasure when we get to chat.
Class, man. Have a great day. See you later.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye. Well, that was a great chat we had with Joseph, and certainly we had some great understanding of his business and some of the challenges and opportunities he faces in his day-to-day. It's great that he has a goal to move into the business over a period of time, and I really agree with that security is key. And I have no doubt he's going to be a great success because he puts the effort in every single day. Thank you so much for watching Found Your Money. I hope you found this video useful. Look, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I would be delighted if you could subscribe to this channel or share it with somebody who might find some little benefit from my videos. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.